Welcome to the Rat Hole for another episode of The Whole Conversation. Today's guest, Bryn Schurman of Caustic, Reverie, and Sumptus, Ignis. And I'm just going to take this opportunity to say, y'all need to get you one of these. And what's going on, Bryn?
Hey, not much. Just working on some writing and mixing and 4 or 5 different projects. Kind of juggle all the plates at once.
Yeah. What's your main squeeze you got going on right now?
I'm kind of in the writing phase for the Sumptus Ignis stuff. I've got a couple of songs that, I just finished some lyrics on one of them, and I'm going to vocal stuff on it. Another one, Josh just sent me some new tracks for that I don't have anything to go off of, so that's like new territory. There's another older song, codename Waking Wolf, that I had some lyrics for a while back. He's moved the pieces around enough that I'm probably going to have to rewrite, reevaluate what I have. Yeah, so a bunch of different stuff there. Promo-wise, I just finished the Caustic Reverie album. I'm trying to get the word out for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been digging on that. Actually, one thing I wanted to ask you is that the new podcast I've got going with Zach, which you named, the Rats in the Walls. If you would be willing to pick out your spookiest or best Caustic Reverie stuff to throw on there for some background noise and some credit music and stuff.
Sure.
Sweet. I think he was hoping to get you on one of the episodes here pretty soon too, actually.
Yeah, no, that would be great. I mean, Caustic Reverie, I sort of started as like horror movie soundtrack stuff in my head, like kind of score to tension or weirdness going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple of I made my stuff mostly like Creative Commons, so there are a couple of short films that have used Caustic Reverie stuff in them. One about urban exploration, a couple of short animated ones.
Yeah. And
so
you
out there wants to use my stuff in their thing, just send me an email or something.
Oh, sweet. There you go. If you want to use any of Bryn's stuff, shoot him an email and he'll hit you up with that stuff. Caustic Reverie was also on No More Room in Hell, right?
Kind of, yeah. It was some of the songs are a lot more caustic, and some of them are more of my beat-oriented electronic stuff. I used to call it the Forgotten, like with an O, but I'm not really using that handle for it anymore. But there are some songs in that No More Room in Hell soundtrack that I kind of envisioned as caustic.
Yeah.
Some that had drums, and there's some that went from one to the other, like I remixed them with percussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of that stuff when you first showed it to us. It was kind of like my background noise at my lab when I was working on shoes and stuff like that, and I'd get into it because it was one of those things where I could step away on the grinder for a second and I could still feel it. I didn't necessarily have to hear it. I could still feel it in the surround sound I've got set up. So I really enjoyed that. So a lot of people probably haven't caught some of the videos you've done, and I've tried to explain it to them how you make a lot of these noises and stuff for your Caustic Reverie stuff, and like as far as just go into that so I don't mess any of it up trying to explain it now.
Sure. When I first started the project, I was using a lot of like time stretching. There's this one called Paul Stretch that I probably abused more than anything else. I would take some field recordings, just the stuff in my neighborhood, cars going by, construction, that sort of thing, and I would take like 30 seconds and tweak it out to 5 minutes, and all the little nuances get stretched out and echoey and trippy. So I use that a lot in the beginning of the Caustic Reverie stuff. I've been trying not to rely on that as a crutch so much. I've been doing other synthesis experiments. A couple projects I use some like optical-based synth, like you take like a JPEG or a graphic image, and it'll figure out based on where it is in the time. It'll this pixel is this value, so it kind of makes like sound out of light. So I've messed around with things like that. As far as just like normal synth stuff too, I like stretching things out, making it, assembling the parts and then putting the space around it, putting it through different reverbs and delays, cascading effects. It's a big swirl of feedback almost.
Yeah. And one of the things that people were really interested in is that track that you did with Rob, how you were smashing things.
Yeah. So that was I was messing around with this program called Iris, and that is another one that you can take sound files or graphic files and sort of draw curves on there. So you would isolate parts of the sound that you want to use, make like a loop around that, draw curves on there, like, okay, so, and then, play that on the keyboard. Those sessions I actually made for one of the Sumptus Ignis songs that was Foolish Endeavor, because it's kind of like about the sculptor going mad and destroying his creation. So I went through and, I didn't have a marble bust to break up. So I, went to Salvation Army, got a couple of mugs and platters and things for $5. Set up a drop cloth, microphone, and it was hammer time.
Yeah, that's really interesting. How I really enjoyed that one when you were like, "No, I'm just going to be smashing some stuff and doing this," and I'm like, "Oh, that's wicked! I really like that. That's really cool." Because most people would think that you're just, hitting some synth and then just bending a few things and then that's it. But you really dove in there and like just literally smashed stuff up and then just messed with the sound waves and everything to get what you got. So that's one of the things I really appreciate about stuff that you and Wojo put out and stuff that you put out is you guys are very, very, very tuned into detail, and you really put in the hours and the footwork to get your stuff the way you want it.
Yeah, we try.
I think that's one thing that's kind of underappreciated about you guys, not just the talent and the final product, but people do not know how much work you put into it. And like I when I'm telling everybody about it, I'm just like, no, you have no idea. Like these guys, like you see me make a song in like a half an hour and you like it, but it's nowhere near the composure or quality or, the depth that they dive into their stuff. And I said, so you guys do not understand the amount of work and commitment that they put into their projects. I said, that's why they really deserve more respect and attention than what they're getting.
Some little things in the background that sometimes I'm just messing around. Like I got an acoustic guitar and I put some tin foil like around the bridge to try to get like, I don't know, like a resonator guitar sound. It wasn't, it was kind of cool enough to keep parts of it in, or that one time when I was messing around with the EBO on the acoustic, I didn't think it would really work, but I got some cool sounds out of that. I think it was Foolish Endeavor, but it might have been Voices of the Dead, I forget. But yeah, just little things that like, this is almost there, but I need a little something to take it over the edge.
Yeah.
A little more interest generation that, this part's pretty cool, but I don't know, throw some ear candy on top.
Yeah. And that's what I really like is you guys have all that little extra stuff in there, and to just listen to it as a regular listener, you're just like, oh, these guys are playing guitars and drums. And then when you really dive into it for the Sumptus stuff, like you'll have, like you'll be doing the tapping and doing some stuff along with what the leads are doing, and you'll be playing some bongos and you'll be shaking some stuff, and you'll be like, I mean, I really enjoy it because I think that's some stuff that a lot of people overlook, and they rely too much on equipment and computers to just make them sound tighter and better. You guys really focus on doing that yourself and then making, getting the full potential out of it afterwards. So, I know Wojo's kind of explained it from his side of how you guys got together, but how did you discover what is Wojo and become what is Sumptus Ignis?
Yeah, so I think the first time that I met him, it may have been in a parking lot. I was messing around with this banjo player. We kind of had like a jug band going around. We called ourselves the Rock Harbor Ramblers for a little bit. But, it was mostly like me playing washboard or barbecue grill. One time, played on the wood with mallets. Yeah, we had some cool stuff, and my friend Carl did some jaw harp, and who else? Ian was doing. We made like a washboard. No, the wash tub base, but it was like a chum bucket with an outrigger, so it was like totally Florida Keys version of that. So we were trying to get some more people that could play like melodic instruments because we had a lot of the folky stuff that, okay, one banjo and a bunch of weird percussion and boom, boom, boom kind of stuff. So I was like, hey, we know this guy who plays guitar, and we sort of played in the parking lot a little bit. And then I think it was a couple of weeks later that he got to the practice space for Identity Collapse, and we broke into that. Yeah, it ended up being sort of a side project for the Identity Collapse stuff. It ended up that we kind of all moved away, so that that project is sort of on hold. We got an album, or at least a long EP worth of songs that still got in the back of my mind. Maybe I can mix them up. Maybe Domo can mix them. So yeah, Identity Collapse kind of came out of there, and just wanted to get our songs moving forward and not having to, I guess, less people than a full band that would play. We need the bassist, the other guitarist, vocalist. Like, okay, let's just work on our stuff, record it, see where we can go from there. Didn't have to worry about like rehearsing the full band.
Yeah, that's where I kind of ran into a lot of that here. You kind of out jam all your resources, or people move away and things happen. And that's kind of where I ended up learning that. That's what's made me like 65-70% on everything. I'm not really good at one thing. I'm just okay at all of them. And that's thanks to all those guys. But what really got you into the type of music that you're playing for Sumptus Ignis? Like, what was your first big influence that kind of took you in that direction?
I think metal in general, it's kind of funny. I think I got into metal via Weird Al Yankovic parodies of stuff. Like, I think I heard his, it was Iron Man or something, or maybe it wasn't him, but it was another parody of that style that kind of got me into the heavier music via the joke band stuff. Yeah, I got into Black Sabbath in high school, or maybe late middle school. And, Metallica and Ozzy and stuff like that. Had some friends that were into some heavier stuff, like Obituary and Sepultura. It took me a while to get into that stuff. So, also thrown off the vocals. Eventually I learned to look up.
Yeah.
Also huge into Rush, progressive rock in general, yes. In terms of stuff.
Yeah. What was your first big show that made you say, I want to do this?
I think that was Metallica at the Orange Bowl. That might have been my first concert act. Corrosion of Conformity, Metallica. Maybe it was Load or Reload. They put so much into it, and they had like the thing with like a stunt man on fire, and like looked like the lights are crashing down. Like, this is rock and roll. What's happening? Oh, we blew up all of our amps. We're gonna have to play this song unplugged. Like, it was just pure theater. It was great.
Yeah. Who are some people that you take influences or keep your eye on today?
In heavy music sphere, I think Devin Townsend is one of the most interesting songwriters, producers. Both his stuff, Scrapping a Lab. I even heard his Steve Vai album without really knowing anything about him, but later on I got turned on to a really heavy thing in City, Scrapping a Lab. Total aggression, but also a lot of his vocals are just out there. And his solo stuff, the Terria, Motion Machine, that sort of stuff, where you could blend the heavy aggression with a more introspective, mellow kind of longing. So those are important albums to me, that I could see that there are more sides to it. You can integrate different ideas in one song or one album.
Yeah, that's really really interesting bands and things to look into. I got into some strapping young lad stuff really early too, and things like Napalm Death, and I listened to a lot of Death and Morbid Angel and things like that too. I have a lot of guys that were into heavier stuff like that, and I'd always had a flair for, like, I was raised around classic rock and like 80s hair metal and stuff. That's the type of stuff my dad was into. So I had that flashiness about me like that, and that attitude, but I also enjoyed the heavier, aggressive music. And so when I put them together, finding myself within like the hardcore and metalcore scene was pretty spot on for me, because I could do both. So you're primarily a drummer, right?
Yeah, I consider that my main instrument. I started playing drums in middle school band, some snare drum, percussion cymbals, orchestral percussion stuff. I did the whole marching band thing in high school, and got to put my drum set on sidelines on a couple of songs, swing show, and I had to bust out double bass on Sing 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 or something like that. So, yeah, I've been doing percussion most of the time, a little bit of bass and guitar here and there. Still consider myself a novice, even though I'm playing them for at least 10 years. But it's mostly like power chords.
Yeah. What would be your favorite part of your drum set?
Well, the hi-hat's the most expressive, but I do have a lot of fun going between like the ride and the boat propeller. I got this thing that was gifted to me a number of years back. Washington Blood days. It's brass or bronze boat propeller. It seems like it weighs 45 pounds. It's nicknamed Old Deadly for the quantity it had for falling off the stand and amputating toes practically. Yeah, this was inspired by Gene Hoglan, drummer of Death, and Trapping on Lab as well. So you had a bunch of ashtrays and a cannon shell, little things around his kit. I was reading an interview about him before I heard Strap. Probably why I checked him out, actually, about his weird little flair on his kit. Yeah, that's really cool. I tried a couple of different things before that. I had some deposit water bottles on my set for a while, kind of like this thing. A couple weird little... Oh, I found a pipe section at a hardware store that run cool frequencies, so I got that on there. Hopefully it's not radioactive, but my dad found me this little valve thing, Jersey Point nuclear plant. I haven't run a Geiger counter.
This is why I've been wanting to get you on, man, because when I ask these questions to other people, they're like, "Oh, I've got this cool snare here. It's pretty deep," or "I've got this," or "I've got 2 snares on my kit," or "I've got this really big sweet ride that I like." And you're like, "Well, I've got this boat propeller. I've got this nuclear reactor handle. I've got that." You're like, this is why I wanted to talk to you, so people could see what we see in the family chat all the time. And when I first talked to Zach about you joining in with like the Rats in the Walls stuff for that podcast, I was trying to explain you the best to him, and I was like, "Dude's so much smarter than the rest of us. He speaks in pictures, so we get it." And Zach he's like, "What?" And I just pulled up the family chat, and I was just like, "See that?" I was like, "All those are Bryn." I was like, he doesn't waste words on us. He uses pictures. And he was really interested in that too, and that's the one thing I think I like about the family is there's so many different like attitudes and like outlooks and just personalities, but we're all brought together by this one thing that we're trying to do together. And I think that's amazing, because not only are we we bettering each other individually, but we're helping each other for the common goal of what we're trying to do. And we're also, hopefully making some new lifelong friends, like I really enjoy talking to everybody, just bullshitting every day in the chat, even when we're not talking about important stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I know these days it feels like shouting into the void some days, like, hey, I've got this cool project. Anybody want to hear it? And like, oh, well, posting Muppet memes all day, like, that's the new thing, whatever. Okay, it's fine. I spent a lot of time on this, but, art is on. Kind of band together, support each other, try to organize a scene, or at least get people to care about things that people spend time on creating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's been one thing that's kind of it's given people the little boost that they've needed that they haven't gotten from their outreach and stuff, just throwing everything out there into the internet, and just having a group of people that you can count on giving you an honest opinion for your stuff, and really helping push it out there, and having someone else beside yourself to be excited about your stuff that for a fact is going to be like, yes, dude, every time you show something. And that, I think that's it lights a little fire under everybody's ass to, keep going. And it almost makes it competitive. Like, how it was for Disappearance and Silura and Silence and Solace. They were all racing for this many likes and follows and, like, things like that. Like, I enjoy things like that pop up. It's kind of become like a bunch of brothers that have just been locked together in this thing. See a lot of bickering and a lot of teasing and stuff like that, but at the same time, it all ends up being this positive thing. Say what?
Friendly competition. Yeah, we're trying to be better. We're trying to get more of a response or figure out how to be heard. Basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what we're doing is a positive thing. I think the only negative thing that we do have out of it, like we've all said, it's kind of a double-edged sword that we do so much talking in the family chat that there's a lot of important things that kind of, go on the back burner or just get lost altogether. But we've tried to make some separate chats in specific places just to put those things, and it's starting to work out a little bit better. And now that we're doing the Wonder List thing, that seems to be, fairly helpful for keeping everything that on task right there in one spot for everybody to see.
Yeah, a lot of us have different hats. Like, I do some audio production, I can write lyrics, basic singing stuff, but video editing. If somebody needs me to work on a project for them, let me know, or I'll do the same for them. I know Domo has a lot of hats that he wears in this organization as well. Yeah. So it's really good to let people know, okay, I'm busy with this, and this, but, let me know when you need a lyric video, or if you guys need... hey, you want to work on a new logo? Let me try some things. I'm trying to expand my own skill set. I guess I didn't feel like I had a budget for this project. I'm trying to DIY most of the Sumptus stuff, and if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to learn it. Yeah. Try to vector graphics or messing with fractals, and I'm trying to get. I designed leggings a couple of weeks ago. That was weird, but, just trying to get better at all of this promotion, creation.
Yeah, I saw those on there, and I was like, man, I've got to start doing squats or something. I got to get me some of them leggings.
Get your summer body back.
Yeah. Beach season's coming up. If I want to come down there and visit, I'm going to look way out of place. But yeah, man, I really enjoy all the designs and stuff that you put out too. I'm wearing one right now. Had to have that fractal red. And I sent out a few others. I believe Domo got the, what was it? He got the plain red new Sumptus logo.
Cool.
And we'll see, there's a few others that are getting sent out. But yeah, I'm just trying to get all that stuff spread out there so people can get their hands on it and get their eyes on it and stuff. They might miss it when, you put it online or something like that. Because, I mean, I've noticed your stuff is a lot like our stuff when we do things. Like, it kind of falls in the cracks when we're trying to promote for it. I don't know if we're choosing the wrong times or what, but I mean, everybody else seems to get a lot better results doing the same thing that we're doing when it comes to their outreach with their merch and releases. But I'm trying to jump in there and help.
I appreciate that. It's a little more difficult for us. Like, geographically, we're down in Florida Keys. There's not really a big rock or metal show thing, and also this new project, Sumptus Ignis, like, we haven't played a live show, so there's less, like, I went to see this band and I saw this other guys. They're pretty cool. What are they called? Like, we haven't had that opportunity, so it's all friends of friends or people that have, heard our album on Spotify or something that have added us. So it's a lot harder to build up a following from nothing, basically. So I really appreciated the ShedRat boost on that. If you're into heavy music or prog or whatnot, your niche down.
Yeah. Like I was telling Wojo on his episode, I literally drive around with my windows down, blaring the stuff. Either making people ask what it is or annoying people into asking what it is. So either way, I'm gonna be letting people know. And here pretty soon, we're gonna have the ShedRat van up and running. It's gonna be covered in vinyl for everybody. It's just gonna be a rolling billboard for everything. I'm gonna try and get. There's gonna be probably a space on it somewhere where I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna section off for like new releases or new logos or new bands or whatever, and that way people can watch for the changes, and it'll keep people's attention out there, because it's already going to be a head turner. It's going to be a loud vehicle.
Yeah, you get the ice cream truck speakers on the outside, so blast them.
Yeah, have people running up, and all those metal kids chasing me down the street instead of an ice cream cone. They're wanting a CD or a shirt. We'll just roll around the towns and do that. Maybe I can get like a portable stage. We'll just pop out and it'll just fold down. We can just step out, play a show, jump back in, go sell some more ice cream shirts.
The good humor man of metal.
Yeah. Well, when you are first sitting down at your desk to say, I'm about to start working on something, what is the first thing that you usually do for inspiration?
I praise the Dark Lord and I eat vitamins. That is not true, by the way. Praise the Dark Lord with every breath. I don't need. I don't know. Some projects, like the Caustic stuff, sometimes I feed off of randomness or, messing around with a preset. I just sort of doodle with it, go from there. It's harder for me to start a song that's more melodic, like the game soundtrack stuff. Sometimes I'll at least have a vibe for the level I'm in or the game. Like, I already kind of have a feel for it, but like I do get like the blank page terror if I'm like, okay, I'm plugging in the guitar, I'm gonna write a song. Oh God, D minor? Oh no, E? Yeah, I feel that. It's tough for me to. Some of it is maybe I have the drummer brain where I'm more with rhythms to start with, and it's harder for me to build a song from a drum beat. But I try a couple of different methods. I think like also Josh had mentioned like one of these chord progression doodle bops that you can. Oh yeah, E minor to A to C. All right, let's try that. See where it gets you. Get the vibe that you want, then you can mess around with different patterns on that. What if we take the sixth of that? Ooh, all right, mystery. Different ways to approach it. I guess I often work in sections that get reassembled into different parts and rearranged. Though I often, if I have like a first line that I really like, I can never revise it. Lyrically, I'm stuck on the first stanza sometimes. It's hard to end up like with a different song if I try to change that part. So.
Yeah, and I'm doing stuff like that because I'm currently working on Steel and Stone, And I just keep doing stuff over and over, and I'm like, no, I need to try it this direction. I don't want to get stuck doing that, because I have a really bad habit of doing the same thing, and I get caught in the same melody or the same phrasing or the same lyric line, or so, and I'm just like, no, I need to dig deeper. I need to try something different. I need to try, and that's the one thing that you guys have really helped me with, is once I realized how deep you were digging into stuff, even on like little 15-second parts of your song, I was like, you know what? I've just been scraping the surface and really not digging into my potential. I need to do this right. So I've been going back and doing it over and over. I've got like 5 different versions of the song so far, and they're all different lyrical. They're all the same lyrics, but there are different lyrical arrangements or different things that I've chosen to use as like a chorus or like a interlude or something. And it's been really, really weird, yet very educational, because I'm not used to doing it like this, but I've been forcing myself to do things different. And I think that, here pretty soon, I think I'm going to sit back and be like, yeah, that's the one. But for right now, I'm Nathan Explosion it, and I'm just like, delete. But, yeah, I really understand that, sitting down and having like the blank page thing where you're just like, all right, and I'm going to write a song.
But
yeah, and there's a lot of times I'll have like the song is all right here, and since I write everything most of the time, guitar, drums, all that, the song's right here, but I can't just translate it to my fingers, or I'll get on the drums and I'm like, there we go, and then I get up and I'm like, what do we do? And it's really frustrating being the guy that does most of it by yourself. So that's why another thing I really like with the ShedRat stuff is there's a lot of people willing to help and collab with things. And it's good to have other people to bounce ideas off of. That way you keep yourself outside of a little box you might get trapped in of bad habits or heading in the same direction. What are some things that we could expect from Sumptus Ignis in 2019?
There are a number of songs we've got in the works. Red Dawn Retribution is mostly done. I got a couple of mix tweaks on that. Lyric video is mostly done as well. I think there might even be some playthrough stuff Josh is talking about doing. We've got one in the works, Eternal Lotus, that I think I've just got most of the vocal parts nailed down to. Going to be a bunch of keyboards and stuff to go in the recording of that. He sent me demos for 2 other songs that I need to get to eventually. Trying to just focus down on 1 or 2 at a time. Other than that, I think we're going to be remixing, remastering the EP, the Seasons of Attrition, and whether it's just those 4 songs over, or if we're going to try to like rework them. I know we talked about doing like an acoustic version of December's End. Yeah. At the very least, maybe some other remixes, or I think he joked about doing like an 8-bit video gamey soundy version of those. So we'd probably work on that. I'd like to release that sometime before the end of the year. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing like another album or EP, or if we're going to try like the Silura method of more singles more often, because a lot of these songs seem like years to cook up, and then we're sitting on them for a while, or waiting for the other couple of songs to release an album. It would be better if we could, release one every 3 months instead of just sitting on 4 songs for a year.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that seem to be transitioning to more of the singles release more often, or doing like shorter demos or EPs or things like that, where they'll do like a split single or something where there's 2 tracks, or things like that. And I don't know, I'm still old school and like the idea of compiling an album and doing things like that, but at the same time I see the benefit of having things more often, because people don't forget about you in the wait.
Yeah, the balance point of having a whole thing that you'd sit down with versus like, I don't know, Tool syndrome. How long has it been? Or have we had anything from Tool in a while? There's certain bands, I hate to pick on them, but they've earned it.
Yeah. What are you most excited for on working on? What's your favorite thing that you think you're going to be most excited about this year?
Yeah, I've had this novel banging around for a long time that I'm mostly finished with, but I keep editing and revising. My second novel, I have a tentative title of Casey Stripe Discount Necromancer. It's like a paranormal satire thing, somewhere between like Ghostbusters and Archer. Kind of government agency with paranormal crap. So I've been working on that novel for a long time now. I think I need to just like release it, get it out of there, get it into the world at some point. So hopefully I can get over my fear of finishing this project and just get it out there.
That seems really cool, man. I got a lot of people that would be really interested in that. And that might even be something, that Zach might be interested in for the podcast. Maybe if you wanted to do something like that, or maybe even short stories, things like that. Because I'm going to start doing little segments where I'm going to be doing little 5 to 10 segments now at the beginning of the podcast where I'm going to pick a new cryptid each time, and I'm going to do a little segment on the new cryptid each time. And I think he's looking for different things like that to do and then get involved with it, because as of right now, it's just us talking for about an hour and a half. We're just rambling. And I'd like to have some more little segments and direction with things. And I think he's interested in that too, because he really wants to do this right and do well by all of us, because it's going to be coming out under our umbrella. So he wants it to be worthy of having the ShedRat stamp on it.
Yeah, I'm all about horror. I've done a couple of short stories. I've got one that I've got like the notebook paper draft of it at least that I need to go back and refine. Earlier this year, kind of long for a short story, almost. I'm not about most places would run as like an entry for a magazine. Yeah, I can probably work on some short stuff from that. I'm into a lot of different.
Yeah, all that.
Kind of ties into a project that me and the wife have cooking up. We've been talking about doing like monster pop.
Yeah.
Some poppy stuff based on the mythology, or like you said, the cryptids. So we've been getting a bunch of books from the library, reading about the Jersey Devil and things like that.
Yeah, I grew up reading those books, man.
That's it. Yes, we got some ideas that we just need to sit down and focus on. It's just hard if we have, I got 3 or 4 different projects, she's got a couple. Making time to just focus and finish one and get it out into the world is almost my biggest problem now. It's juggling too many plates,
Yeah, I do that. I have too many irons in the fire, and I think it would be a good idea for me to just start another fire. And I just end up running around tending to all the different fires, and it just gets really, really hectic. But at the same time, I can't bring myself to put one of them out. And so it gets really busy and hectic. But at the same time, you almost have to appreciate that part of you that wants to branch out and do all of those things like that. Like you've got to respect that part of you and not give into it, like you keep going and get your full potential out of what you want to do for everything. And I've always been an extra busy guy, because I get really interested and really excited about things really easy. So it's really easy for me to be like, oh yeah, we're doing this, and be like, oh yeah, hey guys, check this out. Like, we should start doing this. But I never set this down. I keep carrying this around in this hand the whole time I'm showing them this. And I'm like, they do this. And I get really, really, really easily excited about things. And I always want to know how things work. And I want to know how, I can do it, or I can get better at it. Or if I have someone here at the rat hole that is interested in it and they know nothing about it, or they might be good at it, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's get you on this. And that's really interesting to dive into that stuff and push yourself with all the different things going on and juggling so many things like that. But definitely mad respect for that, man.
the shiny object syndrome where like, oh, this new thing, I got to do everything about it. I got to learn everything. If I have a weekend where I'm just watching TV or something, I feel bad, so I started like making chainmail jewelry while I'm watching stuff, or little crafts and things like that. Getting into.
My cousin actually, he has a forge, and he does a lot of that stuff. He makes swords and daggers and things. And he made a double-headed axe that weighed like 80 pounds. But I mean, if you hit something with it, it was going to destroy it. But yeah, that stuff's interesting too, man. So I think that's another reason why I was really excited to get you on, is because I knew we weren't going to just be talking about playing music. Like that, there was going to be interesting things like this. Because when you talk about things that you're interested in the chat, or you post certain things, I'm like, man, you and the rest of the ShedRats here at the Rat Hole would probably all get along so well. Because this is stuff that I hear about all the time, but they're talking about other people that are doing it. So you're one of the dudes they're talking about. Well, is there anything else that you want to talk about that I might have missed?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the main projects at the moment. Yeah, I think so. That's most of my projects at the moment. We got some future aspirations for some other things, but other than that, just working on music, writing, and playing role-playing games. Yeah.
Well, you want to tell everybody where they can find all of your stuff?
Okay, I have this brynschurman.com/blog. I've got a WordPress that has most of my endeavors on there, but you can look up Caustic, Reverie, Sumptus, Ignis, Bryn Schurman Music on Facebook. A lot of the things are on the Caustic Reverie Bandcamp as well. Most of them you can download for free if you like it. Pay what you want if you feel like throwing me a few bucks. Do some graphic design here and there as well. I can make the album covers for Caustic Reverie stuff as well. And that's it.
Well, all right. Well, everybody, make sure to check out Caustic Reverie stuff, all the Sumptus Ignis stuff. Get you some of the sweet Sumptus Ignis merch. Make sure to keep an eye out for all their upcoming stuff. And check out this video from Disarrayan. Thanks, man. Great conversation.